Hello, friends. Very good morning. I'm very happy to meet you once again in this YouTube video lecture series. And I heartily welcome all the students of English literature of Hamchandracharya North Gujarat University. I also welcome all the literary personalities who loves to read Mulk Raj Anand and the works of Mulk Raj Anand. I mean the novels and short story of Mulk Raj Anand. Dear friends, it's my humble request to keep a notebook and pen to jot down important points of this lecture, and I also request you to use your earplug for better audio reason. So friends, today I am going to make discussion on Mulk Raj Anand and his famous short story The Two Lady Rams. This lecture is divided into two parts, and in the first part I am going to discuss on Mulk Raj Anand as a writer, on his timeline or his biography, or what we can say that his literary contribution. In the second part, I will discuss about his short story, The Two Lady Wrens. So, let us first begin this lecture with Mulk Raj Anand as a writer, and let us first try to understand his timeline. So, Mulk Raj Anand was an Indian writer in English, notable for his depiction of the lives of the poorer caste in traditional Indian society. Anand is admired for his novels and short stories, which have acquired the status of classics of modern Indian English literature. Moreover, Mulk Raj Anand is known for his realistic and sympathetic portrayal of the poor in India and their plight. Anand is one of the first Indian writers in the English language to make mark on the international scenario. His writings are very rich with the realistic and touching portrayal of the problems of the common man, often written with heart-wrenching reality. So, dear friends, in the slide, you can see that in third unit, certain short stories are given, or you can see that in the slide, the syllabus of unit number 3 of paper number CC101 of BA semester 1 of English literature. Here in this unit, you can see two short stories written by very well-known short story writers. In the first topic, you can see that Mulk Raj Anand's short story, The Two Lady Rams, is given to you, and in the second topic, The Fall of the House of Ushers by Edgar Allan Poe, is given to you for further study. Dear friend, sorry to interrupt you, but I want to introduce myself. I am Dr. Padmakshi Vyas from Department of English from Sri and Srimati P.K. Kotawala Arts College, Patan. So, dear friend, Mulk Raj Anand is considered to be the pioneer of Anglo-Indian fiction. Anand is known as Charles Dickens of India and father of Indian English novel. This epithet was given to him after the grand success of his very first novel, and that is Untouchable, which was published in 1935. Mulk Raj Anand and Dickens both reflect the life and suffering of the lowest classes in the society. Mulk Raj Anand was much familiar with the problems of the poorer sections himself. The son of a coppersmith, He had witnessed the cruelties of unimaginable horrors unfold before his own eyes. All that streamed from the caste system that loomed over India like a malignant curse. So, dear friend, in this slide you can see the life sketch of Mulk Raj Anand. So, Mulk Raj Anand was born on 12th of December in 1905 in Peshawar, which is now in Pakistan, and he died on 23rd September in 2004 in Pune in India. Anand was the son of Mr. Lalchand, a coppersmith, and his mother, Mrs. Ishwar Kaur, was a housewife. Mulk Raj Anand graduated from Khalsa College, Amritsar in Punjab in 1924. And then from his college days, Anand was very active, and during his college life or college days, he participated in the non-cooperation movement in 1921 and was imprisoned for some time. Then he went for his higher studies on a scholarship to the University College at London, and further he got enrolled after some time in University of Cambridge. So here in the slide you can see his educational or intellectual development. Mulk Raj Anand earned his PhD degree in 1929 and got himself actively engaged in left-wing politics. Anand married Kathleen Van Gelder, who was an English actress in 1938, and as a result of this marriage, he had a daughter named Sushila before divorcing in 1948. Anand remarried Shirin Wajifdar, who was an Indian classical dancer, a choreographer, and an instructor and a good critic in 1950. His writing career began in England by publishing short reviews in T.S. Eliot's magazine Criterion. As a professional writer, Anand began his career with this short reviews Criterion. At that time, he was living that in foreign countries, and during this period in 1930s and 1940s, when he was living in Europe, he played an active role in the politics and became a regular speaker at the meetings of Indian League. So dear friends, you may have a question that what is the meaning of Indian League and what is the function of Indian League? So you can understand by this term that Indian League is basically a Britain-based organization, and the purpose of this Indian League was to campaign for full independence and liberty and self-governance for India. So when he was in England, he was also fighting for the cause of Indian independence. So we can see Anand's love and concern for India, for his nation, and for his independence of his nation. So V.K. Krishna Menon was the founder of this Indian League. During these years in Europe, Anand come in contact with some literary personalities, or what we can say that he came in contact with some intellectuals such as Bertrand Russell, Henry Miller, George Orwell, and other literary personalities and critics. So, George Orwell has played a very important role for the development of Anand's writing, which played a pivotal role for his literary development. Anand was also deeply influenced by Gandhiji. In 1937, Anand joined the International Brigade in the Spanish Civil War. During this time, Anand, as a socialist, wrote articles on various subjects, on various topics. He also wrote certain essays on Marxism, fascism, and Indian independence, and various other topics. From 1939, Mulkraj Anand started lecturing in literature and philosophy at the London County Council Adult Educational Schools. He also started to give lecture in the Workers' Educational Association, where he taught too till 1942. During the 1930s and 1940s, Anand was actively involved in the politics of London and India. In London, Anand was associated with the British Labour Party, while in India, Anand was associated with the Indian National Congress. So, during the Second World War, Anand also worked as a broadcaster and scriptwriter in the film division of BBC. After the Second World War, Anand returned to India, and in 1946 he found Mark, the Fine Arts magazine. From 1948 to 1966, Anand taught at various universities. Moreover, Anand was the Fine Arts Chairman at Lalit Kala Academy from 1965 to 1970. Here you can see that Anand became the president of Lokayata Trust in 1970, and unfortunately we can see that he died of pneumonia on 28 September in 2004 at the age of 98 in Pune in India. So dear friends, in the slide you can see the literary journey or literary travels of Mulk Raj Anand. Here you can see that the notable works are very famous novels written from the pen of Mulk Raj Anand. So here I have already given the list of novels which are Untouchables, Coolie, Two Leaves and a Bird, Lament on the Death of a Master of Arts, The Village, Across the Black Waters, The Sword and the Sickle, The Big Heart, The Private Life of an Indian Prince, The Old Woman and the Cow. So these are the very famous and outstanding works which were written from the pen of Mulk Raj Anand. So, dear students, in this slide you can see the front page of Anand's novel Untouchable, which was very famous. And about this novel we can see that it is the first novel of Anand which was published in 1935 and which was published by the British firm Wizard. It depicts the caste system of India with the chief character Bakha. Because he belongs to lowest of the lowest class, he had to suffer a lot. He had become an object of exploitation as a bonus because he belongs to lower class. Anand has very artistically portrayed the harsh reality of the Hindu society, which was divided into various pigeonholes. Thus, the novel can be seen as a poignant reminder of the atrocities of the caste system in India. Look here in this slide, dear friends, you can see the pic of his famous novel, Mulk Raj Anand's famous novel, The Coolie. His second novel, Coolie, written within only 3 months after the grand success of Untouchable. This novel is a highly critical book which shows the class system practiced in India. Untouchable is basically caste, while Coolie is basically a class. Thus, on the one hand, Anand is showing class system, and other hand, he is showing the caste system, and both this class and caste system, which were very famous in those days in India. Economically weak people has to face lots of problems and continuously fight with their problems. Thus, Coolie is a devastating account of the poverty and exploitation of faced not just by Munno but thousands people like him or like Munno. So here in this slide, dear friends, you can see his third novel, and the name of this third novel is Two Leaves and a Bud, and this novel again deals with the lower caste people who are exploited in India. Like his other novels, this one also deals with the topic of oppression of the poor, and is about a peasant who tries to protect his daughter from a British soldier. The story is based in the tea plantations of Assam. So, it also depicts the dehumanizing effects of colonialism and capitalism. In this slide, you can also see the pics of Anand's famous novel Lament on the Death of a Master of Arts. Anand himself called it as a long short story because it is around 66 or 67 pages novel. He wrote this novel during his sea voyage from Tilburg to Bombay Harbour. So in the next slide, here you can see his publication of the fifth novel, and that is The Village, which was published in 1939. And this fifth novel, The Village, is the first part of the trilogy. The trilogy was about a rebellious adolescent and his experience in the World War I. In the next slide, or in this slide, you can see the pics of his sixth novel, Across the Black Water, and the seventh novel, The Sword and the Sickle. Across the Black Water is the second part of the trilogy, which was published in 1939, and this one, The Sword and the Sickle, this novel tells the story of the rise of a peasant movement in Oudh in UP in 1920 to 1921. It was published in 1942 in London while Anand was living in Britain and campaigning for India to be given independent. So here you have seen the literary journey of Mulk Raj Anand. So friends, in this slide you can see his next publication, and this was the Private Indian Prince, which was uh, published, The Private Life of Indian Prince, which was published in 1953, and this book deals with the abolition of the princely status system in India. And The Big Heart, this is also the novel which is written by Mulk Raj Anand and which was published in 1945. This novel, The Big Heart, deals with the theme of the conflict between hereditary coppersmith and the capitalist. It's a novel about a village of artisans in Amritsar district in 1940s, whose livelihood is destroyed by the establishment of a factory producing copper utensils. So in this slide you can see his next publication, and that is The Old Woman and the Cow, which was published in 1960. The novel had another title, Gauri. So you can say that this novel is also known as the next or the new title with Gauri. It is the only one of Anand's novel to have a woman as its central character, and it depicts the women's problems and sufferings. Gauri is the chief character in this novel. So dear friends, you have seen the outstanding novels which were written by Mulk Raj Anand, and now in this slide you can see the famous short stories which were written from the pen of Mulk Raj Anand. So you can read in this screen or in this list that the first one was The Lost Child, and the stories published in 1934, The Barber's Trade Union and Other Stories published in 1944. Next he published Corn Goddess and Other Stories in 1947. Then after he also published Rejections on the Golden Bed and Other Stories in 1953. Next, Anand published The Power of Darkness and Other Stories in 1959, and he also published Lajwanti and Other Stories in 1966. And at last, he also published Between Tears and Laughter in 1973. So in this slide, you can see the famous short stories which were written from the pen of Mulk Raj Anand. Mulk Raj Anand also awarded certain awards for his literary contribution to Indo-Anglian literature. He was awarded International Peace Award in 1953. Mulk Raj Anand was also honored Padma Bhushan in 1966. In 1971, he was awarded Sahitya Akademi Award for his literary contribution to Indian English literature. So, dear friends, now look in the slide. Here you can see the picture of a short story, and the name of this short story is The Two Lady Rams, which is written by Mulk Raj Anand, and this short story is we have in our syllabus in unit number 3. So in the next lecture, dear friends, in the second part of this lecture, I will make discussion on this short story, The Two Lady Rams by Mulk Raj Anand. So dear friends, don't forget to watch this second part of this lecture. Thank you very much for watching this video, And please, if you like this video, please like and subscribe. Thank you. Thanks.